Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers for the Nintendo Entertainment System again. In the last video, we went from Zone D to Zone H, and now we have two more zones to get through to complete the game, starting with Zone I. So, we have plenty of cups stacked up around here in what looks like a workplace or office of some sort. And that was a pelican. The pelicans are probably the worst of the enemies that you'll see here, because you have to get rid of them in a specific way. You have to hit them in the lower part of their body. If you throw the crates too high, they will take the crate and spit it back out at you. Also, here are the fans that Gadget was warning us about. Just keep moving towards them. You'll eventually be able to get past them, just like that. As for that fan that's going in to the right, just be ready to jump and you should be able to take it down. Or it'll get to where you need to go anyway. For this part in particular, I want to... There we go. Cool. As long as I get blown into the side of the tack can't hit me. Not when it's not all the way out like that. With that, I can just do a low throw, hold down, and press B to throw directly at the pelican's feet, and from there I can take care of the pelican. And these fans have a better range on them. I will admit it. And yeah, that's what happens if you throw too high. It just sends the crate back at you. You get out of here. As long as you're careful, you can get through the first section pretty easily. Kid me never figured out the low throw. So I ended up using all my continues here. Yes, you have limited continues in this game. I believe you have 3 of them. Anyway, let's get past some desk lamps and telephones. Yes, those are telephones. You used to make them like that in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. In the 20th century. They don't make them like that anymore. And we also have plenty of mousers. Plenty of the robotic mice to deal with. And there's a complete health refill if you need one. Watch out for the hornets. They will dive bomb you. Thankfully, you do have a little bit of a reprieve, but sadly not much right there. I can't believe they came back. And from here, I believe we are now at the end. So what you want to do is throw the ball at the guy when he's moving around. Then get to the center. When the guy splits apart, move away from the center when the enemy does that. And I was not paying attention. And once again, 5 hits does the enemy in. Anyway, minigame time. You've reached Fat Cat's home base. Now go get him, Rescue Rangers. And now it's time for Zone J, which has some pretty boss level-like music to it, and what I consider some of the best in the game. Music actually sounds like it came out of a Mega Man game and was never used. And those guys just kept coming at me, and I couldn't get past them. There's supposed to be some health in that box, but I can never get to that box. Anyway, you will have no means of defending yourself, so you better be ready to jump over the football guys. And there's 2 units of health that you can replenish here on this particular conveyor belt, as long as you are good at jumping. Yes, those are conveyor belts. You can easily tell where they're going. And jumping kind of helps you not get pushed around a lot, so be careful. And try to jump a whole lot if you can. These guys are the worst. The weasels with the little plunger bows. They take 2 hits to the feet. You'll need to use a crate to defend yourself against the projectiles at all costs. As for these little axes, you do want to jump around to stay neutral on these little conveyor belts, and you want to just jump over them whenever possible. And these guys. Yes, the guys with the trilby hats are back, and this time they throw their hats, which makes them more of a nuisance than they were in the casino, believe it or not. Not exactly a fan of that. When you're close enough to them, they will start tossing the hats, which can make them really annoying to deal with. When you see these switches, throw a crate upwards at them to get rid of the little axes that are in your way. It's the only way you're going to be able to get rid of those axes. Also, don't forget to pick up flowers, stars, and other pickups that you can find wherever you can, because you never know when you're going to need them. And I can never get past that guy. And you may have to take a hit there just to get past that last part of that conveyor belt, because that guy's totally gonna be in your way. So make sure you have enough health before you reach this particular part, which is pretty much the end of all this. This stage is as short as the rest of them. This zone is as short as all the other zones in the game, but it is also the hardest. So, just really? And I went all the way back just because I died near the end. I did not expect that guy to be there. Maybe I can get another life to make it for the one that I lost. Hopefully, we can do better. And there's some health right there. And some health right there. And thankfully, stuff that I found previously, we can get those again. I don't even know why I'm carrying a crate over here. There's no enemies where these axes are. And it's not like I'm going to be able to throw anything at him. I know I'm not going to hit anybody if I do that. I just do that just to be on the purely defensive side. Thankfully, this section is rather short. As a matter of fact, all of the sections and all of the zones are rather short, which is a good thing. Alright. Now for the hard part. What am I doing? Come on! I'm not gonna get past him like that. At least him you can get past. And I don't know why I'm avoiding that guy. His head can't even hit me. His head's not part of his hitbox. Man, at this rate, I am just absolutely stinking up the joint. Thinking I'm able to get around and do something when I can't. There we go. That's how you get past that guy just like that. I had a feeling if I stayed back long enough, there would be a trick to it. Alright. Let's get back to where we were. If we can make it to the boss, we can actually get to the boss and not have to worry about being sent back to the beginning of the section. There's no checkpoints in any of the sections, which isn't that much of a problem unless you put yourself in as bad of a situation as I put myself recently. There we go. Now we have more than one hit point. I can do this now. That's how you deal with that last section. That's how you deal with that last conveyor belt part. Yeah, this, as I said, this, while this zone, while it's as short as every place else, it can be very difficult and it can catch you out. Just from how everything is compared to all the other zones. Now we've made it. So, 5 hits. Come on. 5 hits with the ball. Fat Cat will send the ashes down in the exact same spots every time. You just need to be quick with grabbing the ball and throwing the ball upwards into his face. Just like with all the other bosses, it takes 5 hits to defeat him, and once you beat him, you beat the game. I guess that'll teach that cat not to mess with the rescue rangers. Golly, I don't know. Something tells me he'll be back. Well, if he steps out of line again, we'll be ready to put him right back in place. Right, gang? Right. Yes, sirree, there's no stopping. The rescue rangers! And once you press A again, you get the Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers theme, which plays for as long as you have the game on until you power off or reset. And that is the replay. That is Let's Play Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers for the NES again. Very fun Capcom Disney classic. Pretty easy, pretty quick game to breathe through. As you could probably see, it does get a little more difficult at the very end. Does catch you out a little bit unless you know what to do. But other than that, fine game. Definitely one that I would play virtually anytime without hesitation. I'll just jump into this one and just go straight at it. It's been that way since 1991 when I first saw the game. And all these years later, I can still play through this one super easy now that I know what to do as a much older gamer as compared to when I was a kid. And it's a very fine game. Graphics are pretty good. Graphics are pretty easily identical. Easily identical. I don't even know why I said that. Easily identifiable. I do find it interesting that the shapeshifter character was a good guy in the animated series, but he's a bad guy in the game. I guess they were running out of ideas. Also, there's a ton of enemies who never showed up in this game other than Fat Cat and maybe the shapeshifters. But then again, the shapeshifter alien guy wasn't even a bad guy. He ended up being a good guy the whole episode he guest starred in. Sound and music, they're pretty good for this kind of game. Game based on a licensed property. Capcom did not mess around during this era. And you've got all the beeps and bloops of just about any other Capcom game from the era, and the game sounds pretty good. There's nothing about this game that is too terribly annoying. Soundtrack is simple yet memorable. Definitely not something annoying at all. Play control is pretty tight. It's about as tight as it's gonna be. I had no problems at all moving around, ducking, throwing crates, and what have you. as well as replay value. Once you beat this game, there's not going to be much to bring you back. Chip and Dale play identically, so there's not much going on in that department. Though you could easily beat this game in less than an hour if you know what you're doing. And I do still recommend this game all this time later. This is definitely one of those games that anyone can definitely recommend to anyone who is a fan of 2D side-scrolling platformers for the NES. I know that it was on the Disney Afternoon compilation, so that's one place where you could easily find it. And there was also a sequel to this game, which I did play sometime after playing the first one the first time. And I may replay that one too. It came out late in the NES lifespan. It was one of the last Disney Capcom games for the NES and the Super NES. And it kind of keeps the gameplay going, even if it's not as memorable as the first game. So at least it spawned a sequel, and at least there was that. But going back to the first one, this is definitely one to play. For real. And hopefully you're inspired after watching this whole Let's Play of me playing this game to hopefully pick it up and take it for a spin as well. So this has been Let's Play Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers for the Nintendo Entertainment System again. Hopefully you enjoyed this as much as I did, maybe just a little bit more. Hopefully I'll be back with another game. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad, maybe it'll be in between, who knows. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and see y'all later!